Alright, so this is my movie review number 5, off-the-cuff movie reviews. I haven't been gaming a whole lot lately. The only game I have been playing in the last 2 or 3 weeks is RE2 Remake, trying to speedrun it, getting S+ on both, Leon first, Leon second, Claire first, Claire second. I'm kind of done with it. The movement is really spongy and squishy, but on to the topic of this video. I'm doing another movie review. This one is movie number 5. I first did 14 Days in May, and then The Iron Claw, and then One Battle After Another, and the last and fourth one was Come and See, a World War II film. This movie I'm going to review is called An Elephant Sitting Still from 2018. And like the last one, it's another foreign movie. This is a Chinese movie directed by Hu Bo, H-U-B-O, who was... when he was making this movie, he was in his early 20s. He was like 22, 23. And a little bit of backstory. The director, he was actually 28, 29. The director sadly took his own life after finishing shooting the movie and before, production completely wrapped. I think he was going through like major depression, and he was having some kind of like conflict with the producers of the movie about edits and so on and so forth. So going back to the movie, that's kind of relevant because this movie is a epic masterpiece of a movie that is extremely dark, and that's what the movie's about. So it is a 2-hour and 34-minute movie. I'm sorry, 234-minute movie. So it's just under 4 hours. And we follow the stories or the lives of 4 characters. Number 1, it's set in contemporary China. So think 2018, 2017 China. And it's set in the northeastern part of that country, which if you're familiar with, like I am, that's, they call it the Northeast. It used to be where Manchuria, basically Manchuria, the Manchurian Candidate, Manchuria geographically, that's where it's set. And for those of you who don't know, that's kind of China's version of the Rust Belt, meaning it's a place where back in like the early part of the 20th century and even the middle of the 20th century, it was like the industrial hub of all of China, I think. And then it started to deindustrialize in the latter part of the 20th century. And so it's a Rust Belt. It's a place where there's not a whole lot going on. The weather's terrible, the pollution is terrible, and all the young people are just wanting to get away. So in this movie called An Elephant Sitting Still, we follow 4 characters, and their journeys intertwine. The thing that all the 4 characters have in common is they are all going through something that is extremely depressing. They all have some form of major depressive disorder. So the first character is a high school student male who's getting bullied. That's the context of his story, and his parents are abusive. The second story is about his classmate, who's a female. They're both around 17, 18 years old. And she also comes from an abusive family, does not have a father, and she's also having an affair with the schoolmaster or the principal. The third character is a guy in his 20s. He's basically like a small-time gangster or what do you call it, ne'er-do-well or what have you. He's just like a thug, basically. And his torment comes from the fact that, and this is kind of spoilerish, but his best friend took his own life because he was having an affair with his best friend's wife or girlfriend, and the best friend just fucking jumped, off a balcony. That's how people usually commit suicide in China, as far as I understand, is they just jump from like high balconies. Okay, that's character number 3. Character number 4 is a retiree, a pensioner, a grandfather. And his inner torment comes from the fact that his kids or his son and daughter-in-law are not, they don't really respect his needs in terms of him and him keeping his pet. They want him to move out so that their kids can, his grandson or granddaughter, can go to a better school district. That's what the film is about. Why is it 4 hours? Again, like Come and See, it's one of those movies that's kind of art house. So even though the movie's about 4 hours, the amount of dialogue can be fit in like a 80 to 90-minute movie. There's not a whole lot of dialogue. It's all about the camera shots, the mise-en-scene, and the cinematography. The music is incredibly well done. And so this doesn't need to be a really long review. Even though the movie's like 4 hours, not a whole lot happens. So what happens is the four characters, their stories intertwine because they, all three of them have this idea of wanting to escape their situation, but they don't know how. And so all three of them come up with the idea independently, or all four, of going to a place called Manzoli. And there's a legend that there's an elephant that lives there, and no matter what you do to it, you can spank it or, hit it, you can throw rocks at it, you can do whatever. The elephant doesn't move, it just sits still. This movie, I think, is a complete masterpiece of a movie. And after watching this movie, you kind of understand the sort of mindset of the filmmaker, Hubo, and where he was coming from. This is an immensely personal movie. I think it was his first or his second movie, definitely his first major movie, and I think it did win some awards at different shows and stuff. But this is a really obscure movie that most people don't know. If you're a film junkie or a film snob or whatever, you probably have heard of this movie or you probably have seen it. But it's definitely worth watching. The first time I watched it, I was just absolutely hypnotized. It's a very hypnotic movie. Like, it pulls you in with the music, the shots, the framing. It's almost as hypnotic as, say, Mulholland Drive. So yeah, I mean, first time I saw it, I knew, like, oh, okay, I have to watch this again. This might crack my top 10 movies list. And I don't just review movies that are like in my top 10. I try and review movies that are kind of obscure. There's not a whole lot of reviews out there. Like, my favorite movie probably of all time is Halloween, 1978, John Carpenter. There's 1,000 Halloween reviews online. Probably also my top 10, I just mentioned Mulholland Drive by David Lynch. There's a million of those out there. So there's really no reason for me to review Mulholland Drive or Halloween. But this movie and the ones that I've covered in the past are relatively obscure, under the radar. This movie is definitely worth a watch. I've seen it about 3 times. The last time I watched it was a few weeks ago. And again, it's a 4-hour movie. And even though the theme of the movie is very, very dark and depressing, it is a very dark and depressing movie. Number one, the movie is incredibly hypnotic. It has like a sort of inertia to it that keeps you glued to the screen. But if you don't like art house movies, if you're not a fan of like film festival art house movies where there's not a lot of dialogue and exposition, you might not like this one. You might think it's just boring. You might even fall asleep. And I wouldn't blame you, because it's not for everybody. It's a 4-hour movie about people's inner turmoil, depression, and the ending. I don't really want to spoil. It's not something that you really can spoil the ending, but I just want to say it ends on a triumphant and positive note. But it's kind of up to your own interpretation. But definitely try this movie. It's called, again, An Elephant Sitting Still by Hubo. And it's incredibly sad because the director committed suicide at the age of 29 before this movie was ever released. So definitely give it a go. I would rate it 9.5 out of 10, maybe not a complete 10 out of 10, definitely a 9.5 out of 10. If I were to spend more time with it, I've already spent almost 12 hours watching it. If I were to spend more time with it, I probably would give it a full 10 out of 10, but it's a breathtakingly beautiful movie, mesmerizing, and it's very relatable, especially, as of recent, I've been watching a lot of like personal vlogs online of people like in America, mostly young people who are like really depressed, really down, don't want to work, don't want to, engage in the rat race, so to speak. And so, they're quiet quitting, they're making blogs about, I have no friends, or I'm depressed. It's like, you can see like right immediately, like this person has major depressive disorder. And I've been telling those people, I've been leaving comments saying, hey, get your mental health checked out. There's no stigmata nowadays with mental health. You should, be really on it, because, once you get into that major depression cycle. It's really hard to get out of. You got to take medication. They have all sorts of side effects. And so I think this movie is really therapeutic for those people who do have depression or anxiety or some kind of, mental sort of issue. It's very fulfilling to watch. And the ending, again, it ends on a really beautiful note. And it's just an extremely special, unique movie that has a 4-hour runtime. And that's also happens to be very, very good. So definitely watch An Elephant Sitting Still, 2018, by director Hu Bo. Thank you.